Welcome back, guys, to another week of Autastic, your comedian's guide to autism. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Kirk Smith, and my co-host and buddy,
Graham K. Welcome back to another episode. It's been a little while because our intrepid friend, Kirky Smith, is not just at sea.
I'm not at sea at all.
He got on a boat, and the darn thing sailed all the way to Australia. And they dropped him off in Australia, and now he's down under. It's dark here. It's sunny there. What's going on?
It's humid. I'm in Sydney.
Humid? It's humid in Sydney. I did not know that.
Yeah, it's very Hong Kong-ish. Yeah, it's like humid. And last week I was
in that either.
I was in the Gold Coast and a little bit in Brisbane. That's where I got on and got off that ship. And then I did a week on the ship and then shows in Gold Coast all week. And then this week, all week, I am at the Comedy Store, Australia, one of the best clubs in Australia, I'd argue. And
Nice.
And then I've got another week in Perth. It's your chance to see me, guys. I come out here once. I'd like to come once a year, but it's been 4 years. So if you're bored, yeah, because COVID, man. COVID knocked me up. Speaking of knocked up,
do you know what I realized today?
Go ahead.
And it was sobering. It shook me to my very core, Kirk.
You sound like a BuzzFeed article, but continue.
COVID was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
What?
Yep.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. That was that long ago? I'm still using it as an excuse.
Well, you got new excuses. We're kind of burying the lead here. You've had open hip
I'd have
surgery.
a Netflix special, but COVID. It's half a decade ago. Oh, God. I got to write more. Yeah. I got hip surgery a week ago. No, almost 2 weeks ago. A week and a half ago. And I did not get a replacement, Kirk. A lot of people are going, ooh, a replacement. My aunt was back and walking within 4 days. Well, this is not a replacement, okay? They don't normally do this surgery to people over 40. They normally just do a replacement to people over 40. But my doctor, even though I'm 42, my doctor said that I am biologically young.
Oh, man, he hasn't played basketball against you.
Yeah, I know. I'm a bit of a turnstile on D, as they say.
Waving people through. Get in there. Get in there. Score some layups, buddy. Get in there. Have fun. Get in there, kids.
But what I do is I set the person up for a LeBron-style block by me. You know, where I come from behind and I grab it off the backboard.
Yeah, but then you forget to do that part. But the first part, you definitely do.
Yes. All true.
I don't know why I'm being so mean to you.
Anyway, I had to get my the top of my hip resurfaced, like my femur bone. I had to get my hip socket rebuilt.
Oof.
And I had to get my labrum sewn back together.
Oof.
And then I couldn't feel parts of my leg because of the traction, where they stretch your leg so they can get in there. And all my nerves are slowly growing back together so I can feel my leg again. And then I woke up in a hospital, and then they were like closing down. They were like, "We gotta go." It was like I had 2 hours, and then they were like, I was the last person in the hospital. The surgery was 3.5 hours.
Okay.
Anyway, and then my dad came to help me.
Can you turn off the lights when you leave, Grandma? You're like, okay.
Yeah, no. And then it was just my dad's great. I really appreciate him coming to help and take care of me. But, you know, it's just a guy, me on Oxycontin, and a 75-year-old man who's not used to big cities in New York. I'm just trying to navigate that all the way home, getting the prescriptions, blood running down my leg. It was tough. But we got through it. My dad stayed for a few days after the surgery to get me over the hump. And it's funny, you know, my brother is also laid up because he slipped on the ice. Tough winter for the K-Boys.
Oh, man.
I have done nothing. I posted videos about my surgery and about gigs I missed and all that. My brother
I miss the sirens of New York. Continue.
I know. Yeah,
If you
my
could hear that in the
brother.
background.
I called the hospital because I have to go to the bathroom, and
You want them to take a picture of it just for fun?
yeah. I want them to carry me to the toilet. But anyway, the my brother has not complained once. He hasn't looked for sympathy. He's just tough. He just never complains. I ask him how's it going. He's like, great. His wounds haven't even healed yet. He had to have surgery
It's
and
for the
get
ankle?
14 pins put in, and it's like not a complaint, not one peep. He's like, it doesn't hurt as much as it used to. And all I've been doing is complaining and looking for sympathy online.
Calling up every ex-girlfriend of yours. I'm dying. I heard you just had surgery. Yeah. Is it heart surgery? No, it's my hip. I think you'll be able to survive. Maybe, but could you pick me up some Uber Eats and come see me? Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah. He's tougher than me. Peter, my brother, is officially tougher than me, and I think a lot of it has to do with that he has autism. I think he's like a no nonsense guy, and I think that he doesn't feel pain as much as I do. Um, he's got a great attitude. Um, I have a mediocre attitude.
I feel like he's a no-nonsense guy. You're more of a nonsense guy.
I'm a nonsense guy. I'm all nonsense. That's so funny. It's very true. He is no nonsense. I am all nonsense. My whole life is nonsense.
That's good that he's doing good, man. That's good.
I'm a yes nonsense guy.
We're having a hard time with our daily calls with JJ. The time differences, so I'm a comedian, so sometimes shows start late, whatever. And so like yesterday he called me 6 a.m., which is a little early for a video call. My hair looks insane and I'm like, hello. And then it's like, are you okay? Yeah, no, this is a good time to call. I'm fine. I remember kind of that they were going to call, but also, I'm still in a dead sleep because I didn't get to bed till 1. But and I'm not a farmer, so I wasn't up at 5. But
your peak rim.
but I think he's doing good. He's doing good. He's doing he's singing his little song and playing along to his videos, and it's very he's in a rush to get off the phone. It's very Cat in the Cradle. Remember that song, Cat in the Cradle, like he's too busy for me kind of thing, which is really funny. And yeah. Yeah, that's a great little song. I'm trying to be like you, Dad. It's pretty funny song.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did you and your dad talk at all while he was there about Pete and long-term stuff? Does that come up? I know your dad's have kind of prefers conversations about the big war, but do you guys?
No, we didn't talk about that at all.
Okay.
I did talk about it with my mother recently. I think at maybe over the phone, actually, fairly recently, and my dad and I are trying to get my mom to exercise more, so she lasts longer.
Yeah.
And I texted my mom, kind of joking, like being like, I'm not ready to move back up to Ottawa and take care of Peter. And she just wrote back, you fool! Why do you think we set everything up and work so hard so Peter has a support system and he'll have money coming in and enough to pay for his rent and food and blah, 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 blah. And I just don't think I think she's in denial. I don't think she fully appreciates.
So wait, I understand. She's saying you fool, like you need to come up here, or you fool, we don't need you.
Graham, you are stupid for thinking you will have to move back to Ottawa once we die.
Okay. Got it.
Or go to a home or whatever.
Got it.
And I Peter broke his ankle, and guess what? He needed full-time care for like a month from my family, from my parents. So who's gonna do that? It's gonna be me.
Not on crutches.
Yeah.
Just the
You
nonsense and
know.
the no nonsense brothers. I don't know.
When I was a kid, my grandma from Slovakia, Peter would always break stuff and I'd always fix it. And she would go, Peter is the breaker. You are the fixer.
That's cute.
I remember that.
That's cute. Well, he's got what, a
But
month left before he gets the pins out? What's he have left?
oh, pins are in for life.
Oh, really?
But yeah.
I thought they take those out
He
for some reason.
no. He thought so too. My parents like, no. My doctor's like, they're in. He's like, what? It's like, yeah, man. He'll have trouble going through like metal detectors and stuff now. It's like a lot of metal in there. They have to like completely rebuild his ankle. That's how
Yeah,
tough he is.
You just have to explain
It's
to
like,
him. You're Iron Man. You're fine.
yeah, exactly. No, he'll be pissed if you say you're Iron Man. He'll be like, I'm like Peter Parker, Spider Man. I'm not like Iron Man. All right, man. Okay.
Well, sometimes being able to express yourself, people, the lack of being able to express themselves, people confuse with him being able to process it. But it kind of leads us into our article for the day.
Yeah.
This was in the Guardian. I am in a Commonwealth country, so I'm getting all of the UK Mama Bear articles or links. So this was in the Guardian.
Hot Canada, as I call Australia.
Yeah, you do. I call Australia Canada in a thong.
That's good. That's better. Sexier.
It's like you guys, but just all tanned up and semi-nude. Yeah.
Yeah. I have no desire to go to Australia just because I'm from Canada. It's like I've already been to Canada. It's
No.
like a warmer Canada.
No. It's worth a visit. You've never been?
I'm not a nature person. I'm a culture person, and every Australian I met, it's like, you're like us. But
I don't know. Melbourne, they got great coffee culture. It's great. Sydney's very much like Hong Kong, very diverse. It's like 30%, 40% Asian. Yeah, so I don't think it's what you think. It's pretty cool.
okay,
They call Vancouver Hongcouver. It's kind of like that.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Can you say that? I don't think that's racist. Is that racist?
It's
I
not.
don't know.
I don't think so.
Okay. Anyway,
As a
quick
white
article.
man, I can safely say no. I don't know.
That's two middle-aged white men. Let's make a decision
yeah.
on it. People love that. We equate verbal fluency with intelligence, says Angie Kim, who wrote a novel about a non-speaking autistic boy. What happens when you can't express yourself through speech? The writer of her new book and her own experiences being unable to communicate. Almost 2 decades ago, I went to a medical conference to learn about treatment options for my son's ulcerative colitis. His doctor described an incident involving a non-speaking autistic teenage patient who who everyone assumed, couldn't understand anything. His parents were mystified and frustrated because his repetitive behaviors included screaming, hitting his head against the wall, and were out of control. As they were telling the doctor that his teachers were sure that this was a purely behavioral issue, the boy grabbed his sister's preschool alphabet toy and typed, "Help me, it hurts." I immediately teared up and couldn't stop thinking about this.
Whoa.
This is, of course, an emotional story that would affect any person, but it was acute for me personally because of what I'd gone through as an immigrant. We moved to the U.S. from South Korea when I was 11, and I didn't speak any English, and my parents had warned me that it would be frustrating at first not being able to understand or say anything. But it went beyond that. I became a different person in English. Back in Seoul, I had been a confident, outgoing girl. In Baltimore, I was Babu. I think that's a Korean word. Stupid, timid, and most of all, ashamed. I recognize this for the first time, the deep-seated prejudice so many of us carry. We equate verbal fluency with intelligence. This intensified when I learned English to the point where I could understand it, but still couldn't speak it. When you can't speak, others assume you can't understand. Kids make fun of my heavy accent and my quote-unquote broken English right in front of me. This was more than 40 years ago, and I can still recall it even now and feel the burn of humiliation. I just think my experience has nothing compared with a lifelong condition of the boy from the conference. I knew I'd eventually learn English, and in the meantime, I still had an outlet in Korean. I couldn't imagine how much trauma this boy must have endured, having words and thoughts locked deep within him, fearing he would never be able, have an outlet for any form or language for the rest of his life. From that time in the conference, I thought this boy was an anomaly, but then I started hearing about therapists who approach children's so-called severe nonverbal autism from a new perspective, asking, what if the speech issues are due to motor challenges, not cognitive defects, aparaxia rather than intellectual disability? What if they work together to strengthen their motor skills and sensory regulations to teach them to point to letters? Now, this is Kirk speaking, not the article. I had a friend who I played college basketball with, Ross Bennett, big man, about 6'9", and I remember his sister telling me, at that time we were in our 30s already, that he didn't speak until he was 6, and that they would talk about him, when he was there, be like, he can't speak. And then one day out of nowhere, he's like, they think I can't speak. Those were his first words.
Wow.
Which is very, what in the world? Yeah, they think that for a reason. That's the first thing you've ever said. But, very interesting. So that would be, I always had a hope that someday JJ would just, be able to. Yeah, thanks so much for calling, Dad. These calls mean a lot to me. I know you're overseas, but I know you're coming next month. I appreciate the effort. Bring me some Captain Crunch with the berries. I like those better, or whatever. That would be terrific. Anyway, the results are startling. Children started expressing themselves verbally by spelling out words, not just communicate with basic wants and needs like I want ice cream and my head hurts, but essays about history, poetry, and their experience of feeling imprisoned in their bodies. These pieces were so beautifully written, I was ashamed to admit I questioned their authorship at first, wondering how much of their therapists were quote-unquote helping. It didn't help that the first thing I read when I Googled these speech therapies by skeptics claiming that they were all shams. The children were puppets with the therapists cueing them on, or worse, moving their hands. I decided to research the therapies in earnest. Beyond merely reading about them, and reached out to local families and therapists. My doubts went away as I watched videos, observed sessions, and eventually communicated directly with the children, sitting next to them as they slowly moved their own arms to answer my questions and ask their own. Pointing to letters on boards held steadily by their therapists in front of them. I met kids who had participated in a peer-reviewed, published study at the University of Virginia that tracked eye movements of non-speaking autistic spellers and determined that they were looking at and selecting each letter themselves, not looking at the therapist for clues. They began teaching creative writing to several groups, and I was in awe as I watched them respond to my prompts. All the thoughts that had been stored in their heads for so long coming out in beautiful, polished sentences. The more I learned, the more...
Holy crap.
I know, right? What do you think about that? Because I've been curious about that, too, if there's been therapists helping.
How is this different? Right. But how is this different than PACS? What's it called?
Yeah, this is a version of that, but like PACS is usually pictures. PECS, that's usually pictures.
PECS.
It's like
car,
grocery store. And this is like, an actual... my understanding is an actual alphabet, and they go C-A-R. Well, so you could like type a whole. You could say whatever you want if you can spell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This
is like that kid we talked about a couple weeks ago, or maybe a month ago now, who wrote a whole symphony.
Yeah. Yes.
They were like, they taught him. I think they taught him a very similar thing. And he's like, I've been in here the whole time. I love classical music, and I've written an entire symphony in my head. And it's like really good. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, right, if you're fully there intellectually and you've got nothing but time, so if you wanted to dedicate it to do something, you could definitely do something.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, this article's not too long. I'm gonna power through this. But even more than that, I was inspired by the amazing community of spellers. I wanted to include people like them in my work. I created a story about a biracial Korean-American family with a 14-year-old boy, Eugene, who has autism and Angelman syndrome and cannot speak. Excuse me.
What a name for a syndrome.
Right? Yeah.
It's very
Angel, it's a real thing though. I think I don't know if
sure.
we've covered this, but I've had people come up to the show. And be like,
Other syndromes, people with other syndromes would be like, "All right, Angel Man syndrome. Think you're
we
better
should
than me?"
we should probably call ours that too.
It's a very syndrome
It
joke I
is.
just did. Yeah.
When sometimes when I'm down south in Texas or in the south somewhere, and I'll do a joke that's a little bit too city-ish. I'll be like, some of you are looking at me like, you think you're better than me? And to that I'd say, what part of Texas are you from? If you're from Dallas, no, probably not. Austin, probably not. West Texas, maybe. So rude. Okay, Eugene and his family go on a morning walk to the nearby park, but only Eugene returns, and he can't tell the family or the police what happened. As the family is thrown into crisis, trying to communicate with Eugene any way they can, they take on a similar journey that I went on. A lot of questions, doubts, shock, guilt, and ultimately hope and inspiration. Even though my intentions were good, I was worried about the representation of non-speaker. Even though my intentions were good, I worried about the representation of a non-speaker, someone I am not. I shared this concern with my creative writing students, who responded that they had read memoirs by spellers like Naoki Higashida's groundbreaking book, The Reason I Jump. You remember we talked about that probably 3 years ago now, but we covered that, and but no novels featuring spellers. And they encouraged me to keep writing, waiting to see full multidimensional non-speaking speller characters in more novels, to let the world know that people like them are a part of society and deserve to be seen and respected. So I kept going.
Someone who speaks that way is called a speller?
That's how they're referring to themselves. Yeah.
Okay. I was just looking
A
for clarification.
non-speaker / speller.
Okay.
Which I guess makes sense.
Sure.
Yeah. I lost my spot. Here we are. Excuse me. So I kept going, sharing drafts of my novel with multiple people in the speller, autism, and angelman communities over the next many months, hoping it would help shed light on the growing community of people who have been underestimated for so long, not just through the story itself, but through other ways too. For the audiobooks, Eugene's words were read by, quote, autistic Tom, Perun, a speller who can read out written words. That's interesting. They call it a speller. Yeah, you're right. For the 3 book events, spellers served as my conversation partners on stage, and in many others, spellers in the audience used letterboards to comment and ask questions, prompting amazement from other audience members. Spellers who have participated in book clubs and written insightful book reviews, all generous acts of support for which I'm very grateful. The day after my U.S. book launch, a TV crew spent the afternoon with my students and me. My prompt was, describe how you're feeling about being filmed for national television. One student typed out on his iPad, the sounds of our silent voices will reverberate throughout the world. Very cute.
Cheers. Jeez.
Very cute article. Well, Grandma, what'd you think?
I mean, it underscores that there needs to be different words, different names.
I like the speller's idea, though.
Well, there needs to be, yes, sure. But there needs to be different names for the different levels of people on the spectrum.
Oh, yeah.
It's just not all under autism, is my point. It's like that person who wrote, the sounds of our silent voices will reverberate throughout history, does not belong in the same category as my brother.
Oh, my son.
You know,
Yeah.
this is God. It is a incredible story. It is also a happy story and a very sad story you just read, that these people were trapped behind this wall.
What a hopeful story. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's very happy. It's very happy that in the sense that they're not trapped anymore, and people take them seriously, and you see that it would be so frustrating. Also, cognitively, just be able to communicate. Their brain is probably just firing and growing. It's like any muscle. The more you use it, the more it grows. They just must feel great mentally right now. and these people are obviously very intelligent, and anyway, it's just it's such an interesting and hard to pin down thing autism is. I mean, I really searched for a word of what do you call it? I'm just going to say thing so I don't insult people. But it's hard. It's just there's just so many different types. Speller.
Yeah.
What does that make you feel as a father of a nonverbal? Does it give you hope? Does it just make you frustrated? Does it make you? Do you just think, it's different? I
mean,
know it. I know they're different, so
truth?
I'm not gonna get. Yeah.
The truth is, it makes me feel guilty that you're like, you of course hope that you've done everything you can to get him out of his, bubble or trapped body or whatever. And so you hope, I know we've tried things out there. Every time I read something like this, the truth is, it makes me feel like complicated, like guilty, like, oh, maybe I should, you and I live very busy lives, and I've got a lot going on today even, but it makes me feel like, okay, I should take this article, try to, so because it's not as simple as, try it on your son. Like, yeah, that's a good idea, but he lives in he lives in a home, and so I need to like figure out a way to get this to the aides and see again about, and we've done this throughout the years several times, and so it just makes me feel like I hope.
Did they ever follow through?
The
Do the aides ever go like, oh yeah, we'll try it, and then they try it?
Well, try what? Holding up a thing with the alphabet? That's what I'm saying. Try what exactly? Because we've tried so many different things.
The last thing that you sent them. You said you've sent them stuff throughout the years when you come across something like this.
Yeah.
What is their reaction?
So they're usually very positive about it. Part of the thing is with him is he's very disinterested in everything. And so it's like hard to know, like, is he disinterested because he doesn't understand, or is he being a little lazy? Is he being, so it's, I feel like this story specifically, they're telling a story of somebody trapped who wanted to get out, versus my story is of a man who's, I don't know if he's trapped, but he's for sure is very disinterested in changing his life routine. He likes his little, videos, and he likes to, so I don't know. That's how it makes me feel, which is like a complicated feeling, obviously.
I mean, I would like to, I wonder, it makes, if you have a symphony in your head, I don't think you're watching VeggieTales every day.
That's the thing. That's what I need to, that's the thing. Yeah, I agree.
You wouldn't be interested in VeggieTales.
That's what I think. So so I think he's got an intellectual disability as well, as he's got profound autism. But I think there's something else going on. And so, because when he wants to type, guess what? He can type out the full word VeggieTales, Madame Blueberries. That episode. That
so he can already do it.
Oh yeah, he can. Yeah, we've covered this. He can already type.
I know this. I know. But didn't he figure that out himself?
He figured it out himself, and he doesn't choose to do that with anything else. It's just the half a dozen things he likes. That's what he'll type.
Mm. And you don't know if he's just memorized the V goes here.
I don't know.
He's not spelling it out. Yeah.
Well, I do know this. We've caught him like Googling pizzas. Like, ooh, look at that. That's a good one. Look at that. That looks
that
like
is
delicious one.
That's his porn. That's so fantastic and sweet and beautiful. I love that.
That looks like an all meat pizza. I like that too.
Dude,
that
he's so
delicious.
cute. He's so cute, man. What a sweet boy.
Oh, look at that. I think that's a cheese bread. Cheese crust pizza. Ooh.
That's a good one.
Daddy likes that, yeah.
That's a good, look at that cheese pull. Hello.
And he Googles computers. He'll look up laptops. So it's like, ooh, I could use that to look up my pizzas. Look at that.
So look, there you go. That's interesting.
So yeah, so those articles all make me feel super complicated because it's the unknown, right? And yeah, so I'm hoping someday he keeps progressing, and yeah. Anyway, As
You're
always,
doing great.
Thanks, man. I'm trying my best. Send us your stories, guys. If you have similar stories, just a reminder, we're still looking for people to guests on the podcast. I know I've got a couple messages and I've just been really crazy busy, but I send them again. If you've got articles that you like for us to cover or suggestions for topics du jour, would love to hear them. KirkSmithComedy@gmail.com. Feel free to email me. As always, it really helps me if you watch and share my videos on YouTube or Facebook. I'm also on Instagram if you're under 35. And what's the last one? TikTok if you're under 25. I'm on all of them. Kirk Smith Comedy. What's going on with you, buddy? Oh yeah, and I should say I'm doing shows all week at the Comedy Store in Sydney, and next week I've got 25 shows in Perth. Come out and see a show.
Holy jumping.
Making that sweet, sweet Australian money. What's going on with you, buddy?
Exchange rate.
It's killing me. I'm taking a bath on this one.
Okay. I'm doing nothing. I got my hip socket refinished, so I'm
Your hips don't lie.
lying in my bed. I bathe every 2 days. It's a big deal. Today was a shower day. I have a seat that I shower in. You know what, folks? In May, I'm going to be in Arizona at Stir Crazy. And, that'll be fun for you.
That'll be great.
April, I got stuff coming up in April. I'm going to be in Houston, Texas in April, going to the Riot Festival. So come to Houston. I'm going to be opening up for Nate Bargatze in April. I'm going to be going to Austin, Texas for the first time in my life. April 25th, I'm going to be headlining the Creek and the Cave in Austin. That is a Thursday. April 25th, Austin, Texas.
Love it.
Come check me out. And then the following weekend, I'm going to be at Stir Crazy in Arizona. It's been my Southwest tour, baby.
Love it. Graham's new hip. These hips do lie. That's what that tour's going to be called.
Well, yeah.
the play on Shakira's Hips Don't Lie song. Would be great.
I know, I got it.
That's it, guys. Have a great week. You can do it.
Bye-bye.